Good morning, or other time of day. Today we're talking about the importance of strategy. As an actor, again, because I mainly speak to actors, those are the people I have sort of focused on helping with reels or starting production companies or consulting or what have you outside of my usual vocations. But strategy is important for everybody. So whether you're a director or a producer or somebody just getting started in the industry, somebody who's already in it for a decade or more, like maybe this might have a nugget or two of value. And if you already know this stuff, then good. Then you're probably doing just fine with your career. So what's a strategy? And why is it important, especially for actors? Let's actually discuss the problem a little bit more and why I'm even talking about this. I speak to a lot of people. And I know I say that a lot in these videos, but that's how these questions come up. So I hear it again and again and again. I deal with an issue again and again and again, and then I'm kind of like, maybe I should talk about this so I can just send people a link instead of it taking 20 minutes every time I do it, because, time is valuable, and if it's recordable and shareable, why not just help more people more quickly? That having been said, subscribe, like, dislike. If you want to rant about how terrible of a person I am, post it in the comments, and it'll make you feel good. I'll be your punching bag. See, I don't care, so you can just hit me with it, get all those frustrations of the day out, tell me how bad and evil I am, and how terrible this whole thing is, and the industry, how terrible and awful it is, and then go on and be angry, and then maybe you can have a nicer day after that, because I sort of was able to help you with that. So if that's the way I can help you, please go for it. Go nuts in the comments. And if you have something positive to say, then I encourage that too. But definitely ask questions if you want to know something. Maybe I'll hear something often enough that I'll do a video about that. Because there will come a day where I'll run out of stuff to say, and I'm kind of enjoying these videos, so why not keep it going? If I have stuff to say, I'll keep saying it. Now, back to the topic at hand, strategy. A lot of people want to be actors. They are actors. They're good at everything. They're good at drama, they're good at comedy, or maybe they're not, but they want to be, and they think they are. And they would like to take any job because they just want to be on set, and I understand that. Directors and producers and anybody does the same thing, but it's that eagerness that can actually hurt you. And it hurts you in a way that you might not quite see until you've done random gig after random gig, and then several years later, you still have no identity in a sense. And you still have no understanding of where you're going, and it just sort of becomes a thing that you do, this acting. Another audition, another short film, maybe a movie, even if it's bigger stuff, another movie, another show, a co-star, a guest star, a co-star, an indie film. And some might be happy with that. But to me, it's important to sort of have a pattern of growth in life, right? So you should never go backwards. And the only way not to go backwards is sort of to understand where you're going, because maybe you just feel like you're going sideways. Or maybe you feel like you're not going in any particular direction. You're just going. You're just doing. So when I speak to actors who seem to be more successful at what they do, whether it be with self-production and acting, or even just acting, those who are on a roll and doing well with just that right now, they have plans. They have strategies. And it's a call. I should get it. It's about a commercial project I'm working on, but you see, this is how important these YouTube videos are. I'm not going to take that call. They can wait. So, what does the strategy? How do you start devising a strategy? Well, it starts by knowing what you want. And knowing what you want is a good start, but you also need to know what you're good at. And if you know what you want and what you're good at, you can create a persona, characters around that. You're not going to be trying to stretch your range too much, getting out of your comfort zone too much before you're ready. And you're going to be playing within, what's appropriate to you. Now, if you understand who you are and what you would like to achieve, then you can sort of set that goal and reverse engineer the steps that it would take to get there. So now instead of, let's say you want to be a series regular on Stranger Things or a show like that, a sort of a, CW type show. You don't need to be going out in auditions for, extra roles on Bold and the Beautiful or co-star roles on a Nickelodeon show, right? That's irrelevant to your strategy, to your goals. So a strategy is really a map to fulfill certain goals, and you can't have that until you have set those goals. So you would set series regular Stranger Things as a goal. So now you know what sort of assets you need, what sort of characters are on those shows, what kind of character you can best play that would fit within that kind of a world. You don't want to get too specific. You don't want to start dressing exactly like they do on that show. You want to assume that maybe by the time you get there, Stranger Things specifically might not be around anymore, but there might be some sort of an additional new show, just like you may wanted to get on Twilight, but then that was over. Maybe you got on the originals or something similar after that. But knowing where you want to go and what it is that you can do best, what sort of character you could play, will inform the decisions that you make when you take your headshots, when you... See, this is how badly... Oh, no, this is for the movie I'm doing. So, wow, everybody's deciding to hit me up right now. So everybody... once you know all that stuff, you can decide on, the looks that you'll get on your headshots, the way that you'll carry yourself, maybe even down to the way that you dress in general, and your hair, and the type of training that you take. If you self-produce, that's very important too, to keep adding content like that, adding scenes that complement you in those types of environments, those types of roles, and the beefier then your portfolio gets around that person. So like if Danny Trejo, for instance, wanted to be on romantic comedies, he may have had a little bit of a harder time, given that he sort of got cast a lot as, Latino gangster, but he kind of was that person. So he went, he's got the chest tattoos. He knew that that's what he was good at. So he leaned all into that role. It's not to say he can't jump out once he's successful and do sort of an off-character type, but he leaned in on that. Everything that you see about Danny Trejo is badass and gangster related. That even now, he's, I think, in the 70s, and it's just been solid for him. A lot of work in that space. So what's that kind of thing for you? Because now that informs the type of manager that you approach. Who does that manager have better relationships with? Now, any agent and any manager can get you, in the door with various shows, right? But if you see an agent or a manager that has better relationships with CW, for instance, then that's a better choice for you than even a bigger agent that maybe doesn't work with those shows as much. That helps you build a strategy because you know where you're going. And then your agent and your manager and your team, your headshots, your reels, your self-produced content, the movies that you make yourself, everything you do sort of informs that direction, that strategy. And with every decision that you make, this is for me and this is not for me. This is the kind of role that's appropriate to me and I shouldn't take this. Even though it's a gig, even though it's nice to get on set, it's not what I do. I'm not interested. I need to focus on getting more work like this. So maybe instead of taking that one... wow, they're destroying Wilshire Boulevard, it looks like. Sorry about the construction downstairs. So everything you do then gets sort of is fuel to that direction that you're going in, and you become a much more precise machine and leader of your own career. And managers and agents and everybody likes that, because now they can call you in as the specialist. And who gets paid more, the specialist or, like the general doctor that you go to, or the brain surgeon? If you know who you are and what you want, and you fine-tune those characteristics and you embody that, then you become strong at that. and you everything is informed by that. So if you're a leading man like Tom Cruise, that's action man. Like everybody knows, if I'm doing a big budget action movie like Tom Cruise, Mel Gibson, like they're sort of top contenders for those things, right? Or at least, were in their heyday, but even still today. Probably not going to go for, like a Jim Carrey for that kind of a role, right? But he knows what he is and leans all into that. So long story short, that's the importance of a strategy. You really need to know where you're going. And if you haven't done any, soul searching in terms of, what you want, and maybe you're not quite sure of where to start with all this, just start asking people, hey, how do you see me? What do you think? And just random people, not just people who you trust in the industry. Friends, hey, what movies would you see me on? How would you describe me? What adjectives would you use to describe my personality? And start with who you are, with your actual essence. That's what makes you unique, right? So start with that and sort of build out from there, and then start seeing where does that really fit. And if you find places where that fits and you kind of like that, you're like, hey, I never thought about this, but I could be sort of a, sort of a Melissa McCarthy kind of comedian, right? Like I'm actually pretty funny. Maybe you should pursue that. Maybe you're a natural at that. Maybe that'll work out well for you. And then all the content you produce yourself, everything that you do for yourself informs that. And you'll just build a stronger brand, right? So a strategy leads to a brand, leads to consistent work. I hope that helps. There's a lot more to talk about when it comes to strategy. Also just overall strategy, like the fact that I think you shouldn't spend 40 hours a day 40 hours a week at a day job. You should, if you're not acting, you should be producing or making money with production or doing anything industry related. You shouldn't be out there spending a third of your time sitting at an office, a desk, somewhere. You have to, you're never gonna. You're just compared to somebody who is immersed in the industry. When they're not acting, they're producing, they're writing, they're talking, they're making projects happen, they're shooting commercials, they're making their money within the industry. If you're not doing that and living and breathing in this industry, you're cutting yourself short, because there are people who are doing that. They're much more competitive than you because they're networking constantly, whether it's as an actor or a producer or a director or a writer or whatever it is. They're out there meeting, growing their network, going to film festivals, making commercials, meeting potential investors, because nowadays an investor could be a dentist that you shoot a commercial for. Everybody loves the film industry. You could be on their commercial. That could lead to something else. So you have to be integrated in this. So part of the strategy should also be, how do I go from being part-time to full-time industry? Not just acting. Acting is to a certain extent always going to be part-time unless you're a series regular on a major show. But how do you become industry full-time? And once you have some money, then of course you can invest. You can have assets outside of the industry, but that's different. That's not what you should do before. You should get immersed in the industry, build your network, know where you're going, know what you want to achieve, know who your teammates should be for this, and just violently pursue it. So again, like, hate, subscribe, comment nice, comment bad, start a war. I prefer peace. But if you're just that troll that once in a while just needs to clamber out from under his little bridge and go, I hate the world, go for it. I'll take it with open arms. See you on the next one.